Well, Egypt's prosecution will investigate former football star Mohamed Aboutrika for alleged funding of a terrorist group after authorities seized his share certificates in a travel company last year.
A committee charged with confiscating a Brotherhood assets has referred him and hundreds more to the prosecution on charges of funding a terrorist group. Joining on Skype to discuss this issue is an African affairs analyst, James Wood. Thanks for joining us. Now, this development, what message is this being sent to the war against terror in Egypt? We have a high-profile personality in the form of the footballer there. So what can you tell us about this?
All right, well, thank you very much for having me on. But now looking at this case itself, I think we have to look at it in a dynamic of looking at the Brotherhood itself, the Muslim Brotherhood. So I think before we answer having a high-profile individual as Aboutrika, I think we look at how Sisi came into power through the uprising. Now, through this uprising, a committee was formed under the Ministry of Justice, a committee to look into the Muslim Brotherhood to see how their activities are being carried out. And this committee sees assets of numerous individuals, organizations. And one of those individuals happens to be Mohamed Aboutrika, a renowned footballer, African legend, has won numerous trophies. I have to admit, I was a big fan of his football. But the question that we really need to ask is this an attack directly on him, or is it the organization that he was a partner in, which is Ashab Tours? So I think that's the key thing to actually look at, because if we look at an attack on him, then it sends a very bad message within Egypt in the sense that this is a footballer who is idolized by millions. And when you consider the population of Egypt currently at about 85 million, and out of that 85 million, you're looking at about 32% of that population being between the ages of 2 and 14, and an extra 17% actually being between the ages of 14 and 24, you can see that he has a very big fan base around him. So if it becomes a personal attack, I think you run the risk of having a society actually feeling as if one of their own is being attacked, and particularly an individual who is seen to be extremely humble, has contributed to society, has helped those in need, has built mosques. So that becomes a very personal attachment. But then again, if you look, it sounds as if I'm putting a defense towards him, but if you really look at the company, Ashab Tours, this is a partnership with a certain gentleman, Omar Al-Qadi, who was actually involved in the Brotherhood. But the shares itself show that the company was formed in late 2012, together with the footballer. But by the time the footballer actually bought out the company as a whole, this was in 2014. And the case that the government is looking at under El-Sisi, they're looking at a period of about 2013 when this company is allegedly funded the Muslim Brotherhood. So if you look at the timeline, it kind of moves away the footballer from the allegations that he was involved in it, which is what he is actually trying to argue in the courts. So he's tried to appeal the decision twice before. That decision has been rejected on those two occasions. Just a few days ago, he sent in another appeal, which they said they'll be reviewing on the 5th of April. But regardless of that, his assets have been seized. He is still being allegedly involved, so he's still innocent until proven guilty, I would say.
Coming here now, let's recall that a number of other persons and organizations have been fingered also in as being part of the Muslim Brotherhood and all of that. But tell us how much trust you have in the first place as regards the allegations being put forward to this footballer.
Well, I think first of all, I think this would be twofold. If we look at the history, if we look from 2013 to say 2014 when El-Sisi came into power, El-Sisi's main aim was to actually try and crush the Muslim Brotherhood. So if you look at it, the Muslim Brotherhood itself has found itself politically decapitated. The support network it has been frozen, as we've seen with organizations that have been alleged to be funding them having their assets frozen. Beyond that, they've also struggled with an organization structure where most of the leaders of the Muslim Brotherhood are seen to be outside the country, so leaving it very disenfranchised, which has the potential of causing a problem with the youth within the political setup, youth who are looking for representation, who feel as if they're being actually repressed by the current regime. So with that causes a problem. But so it also brings the aspect that it seems to be a very politicized situation. So as we're saying, getting the Aboutrika in there as a candidate that's been accused of funding terrorism this is a very big charge because according to the laws that Al-Sisi has put into place, anybody who is seen as funding a terrorist group can be sentenced to 25 years in prison. But so far, these are just allegations which he has denied strongly. He has never publicly spoken about supporting the Muslim Brotherhood. But I think the downfall on his part was that he was actually in support of Morsi, who was the ousted leader. So this has caused a big problem around him. But if you look at the record, he has never come publicly to support the Muslim Brotherhood. So you could say that there is a bit of a political dynamic to it, but which we hope that the judiciary itself or the committee can actually operate in a manner that is actually immune against the political interests in there. But I think the key thing for this current government